All right, we will go ahead and get started today. My name is Ann Alcorn. I'm the career advisor on the South Lake campus here at Lake-Sumter State College, and we also have Carice Conwell on with us. She is the career advisor in Leesburg, and we are going to be talking to you today about LinkedIn and try to build your LinkedIn toolbox. There are a lot of great things that you can do with LinkedIn that people don't really think about sometimes. And so I'm just gonna kind of go through what I think are the best tips. Carice can jump in. And if you all have any questions, you are all muted by default. But there is a chat feature if you want to go in and ask questions that way. And then either Carice or I will go ahead and answer those questions either in the moment if they seem like they need to be answered, or maybe towards the end. But the first thing we wanted to do was do a little poll and see how you use LinkedIn, or what familiarity we have with LinkedIn. So I'm going to try and launch a poll here. And hopefully you should be seeing the question, do you know what LinkedIn is? Have you really heard about it? Or are you kind of in the dark about LinkedIn? I'm going to give just a few seconds to go ahead and answer that. Are you seeing the polling? Go into the chat feature if you're not seeing it.
No.
You're not seeing it?
No, we are not seeing it.
Okay. Well, it says I'm sharing it. Let me end it, and then I'm going to try again. All right. Okay. Anybody seeing it now?
Yes, yes, we see it now.
Okay, great. Are students seeing it? All right, I'm not getting a lot of feedback, so I'm going to go ahead and end that one, and maybe we can just talk about it in the chat. If you know what that LinkedIn is. And then I'm going to try it again for students asking, do you have a LinkedIn profile? Have you created one? So you should be seeing that now.
We're not seeing the poll, and try to relaunch.
Relaunching. I think for some reason it's not happening, maybe because I didn't initiate the thing, so that's okay.
Now.
It's up now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to end that, and it doesn't look like everybody answered that question. So the people who did answer said that they do have a LinkedIn profile, but it's not complete. So it's good to know where we are. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile yet, that is fine. What I'm going to tell you about LinkedIn and the ways that you can use it, hopefully are going to inspire you to make one, or to make you kind of improve your LinkedIn profile. But the first thing we want to talk about, what is LinkedIn? A lot of people see it as this thing that you should get into way down the line when you are ready to take that first professional job. So, you know, after your 4-year university and you're ready to go. But LinkedIn is really a great resource. It is technically a professional networking online platform. And so your interactions are online. Some people also refer to it as your professional Facebook. And it does look that way to a certain extent, but it's much more on the professional side. You wouldn't be posting pictures of your dogs or your kids on LinkedIn or talking about what you had for dinner. LinkedIn is more of a way to showcase your professional self and your professional side and make those networking connections with other professionals in the field that you might be interested in, or just at large that you might want to connect with down the line. The next question is, why is LinkedIn important? As I said, a lot of people don't see value in it when they're starting out in college or even high school or in their career, because they're thinking this is something that the CEOs are only involved in or only recruiters are involved in. But it really is important for everyone because it's the place you make connections. 50 to 80% of jobs are filled through networking and internal hires, and a lot of them are never actually posted on job boards. So the more people you know and the more people you're connected with down the line is going to help you when you do want to find a job or an internship or even a job shadowing experience. The more people you know, the bigger that network becomes because they know people and they know people. And the more sincere those connections are going to be when you're going into the world of work. 40% of new hires are typically held or filled exclusively through networking. So that's a huge number when you think about it. 40% of the people that are being hired today, out of the, say if there's 100 people getting hired today, 40 of them are getting that opportunity because they knew someone referred them. They heard about the job because of somebody in their network. So networking is really valuable. And typically workers who land jobs through networking earn more. They earn an average of 6% more than those who found jobs just by going through their website. The reason that this happens is that person who's doing the hiring has more confidence in you because they've been told that you're a good worker or you're reliable. They know more about you and they feel more confident hiring you because it costs a lot to go through that hiring cycle. They typically say it's 3 months' salary of the person they're hiring for. So if they're hiring somebody who's making $50,000, in the end, that whole process between the people needed to do the interviews and posting the job and all of that can really add up. So they don't want to have to do that too often. So they're going to reward someone who is coming as a referral with more pay, likely, because they believe you're going to stick with them. And LinkedIn is a great place to make these connections. It has over 660 million members worldwide. 167 million are in the US, and they're growing every day. I actually went in last night to update this slide from my last presentation that was just a couple months ago. And 47% of these people log in at least once a month. So that shows people are active. They are actually using this as a resource. So it's not something that's just languishing. It's actually a living, breathing networking platform where really great connections can be made. So I'm going to actually go into LinkedIn and show you some ways that you can actually viably use this. A lot of our students are exploring careers right now, and that is a place that I think a lot of people don't think about LinkedIn as a resource, because you're thinking, I'm making a connection so that I can get hired tomorrow or next week. But it's really a great place to look to see what kind of job you could get with the major of your choice. So are you now seeing my LinkedIn profile? Carice, can you see that? Anyone?
No, it's still showing your PowerPoint.
Okay, so let me do new share. Okay, so now are you? Are we seeing LinkedIn yet?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. So this is LinkedIn, and I was mentioning that you can make some connections. You'll have your connections over here, and you can find people, and they will be posting, as I mentioned, much like Facebook. A lot of people will use LinkedIn to find jobs or make connections because they're looking for a job right now. But what some people don't think about is, how do I find people that I might actually want to connect with? So there's a couple of ways. One way is to find someone who went to the same school as you and studied the same thing as you. This is a great way to make a great connection that's meaningful. So you can go into LinkedIn and look for the college of your choice. I pick Lake-Sumter because we are at Lake-Sumter, and we're kind of a small group. We're a small school with not a million different alumni. And so it's a really great small community that you can kind of scoop into and find some people. So if you go to the Lake-Sumter State College school site, and then over here on the left, go down to where you see alumni. You can see that there's 4,376 alumni of Lake-Sumter on LinkedIn now. What's great about this is they show here these options that you can use to kind of whittle it down to the people that might make the most sense for you to talk to. So we have where they live, where they work. So if you were going to move to Tampa or New York City or something like that, you could show more and see if there's anywhere there, or you can even click add and type in the city that you're looking for. If you wanted to work at Orlando Health, or you wanted to hear what it was like to work at Walt Disney World, you could select the employer. It whittles it down to a fewer people. And then down here, you can find the people who are currently doing that. You can also drill down to what they do. So what job they're in, if you have a specific job in mind, what they studied, so what major they were in, and then some of their skills and how you might be connected. What I feel like is really valuable, especially when you're exploring majors, is to come into what they studied. So if you're thinking, I don't know what I want to do, but psychology was the best class I ever took, clicking on psychology and then scrolling down to see the people who majored in psychology and what jobs they are currently doing is really insightful. You can, again, narrow that down by the company that you were interested in working at, or you can just kind of scroll through and see what some of these people are doing. Some are the obvious, you know, social worker. Other ones are an operations specialist, an executive assistant, a program assistant, an owner of a business. So there's a lot of different options. And when you find someone who's doing something that sounds interesting to you, you can click and then look at their career path from their education, starting out with an AA at Lake-Sumter, going on to UCF to get a bachelor's and then a master's degree. So you can kind of start to get a feel for, what does that career trajectory look like? What are some options of things I can do with the degree in psychology? And where can I go from there? What's really great about this is you already kind of have a leg up with these people because you're a Lake-Sumter alum. I actually found someone, and that's how we took our first exploratory trip, was a Lake-Sumter alumni who works at Darden. And I found him through LinkedIn. He was really excited to talk to us because he had that connection with Lake-Sumter, and we were able to go visit and have a really great experience that way. This is just another great way. If you know that you're going to be going to UCF and you think you want to major in sociology or psychology or accounting or whatever, it doesn't have to be the school that you go to. So you can go in and say, I could spell.
We have someone interested in aerospace engineering, Anne.
Okay, well, let me go back. Should we go back? I'll go to UCF. So now we're in UCF. And again, you can go down, and this is actually going to be a really great window into the difference between a small group and a large group. If you go to UCF's alumni, I think we had 4,000 and some odd from Lake-Sumter. There's 231,000 here at UCF, and we can go through this process that we had talked about, but now that we know, okay, aerospace engineering, let's see if anything comes up there. I don't see it as the top several, so I click add and I go aerospace. And then I can scroll down and see there are 1,035 alumni from UCF. And this is going to also include current students if you don't adjust the start and end year. You can switch this end year so that it doesn't go as far as 2020, and that way you'll only capture people who have already graduated. But then you can come down here and say, okay, great, I actually want to be an aerospace engineer for Boeing. Now we can scroll down and see the aerospace engineers who are working at Boeing that went to UCF. I know for a fact there are some, at least one or two who went to Lake-Sumter, so you can do this same thing by going through the Lake-Sumter alumni. And then when you find someone who looks interesting, you click on their name. And this is where it gets not tricky, but where you have to be thoughtful about how you want to approach this person. First of all, you can just learn more about the process and kind of the career trajectory by going in here and seeing, okay, this person has a bachelor's degree, and then they worked at Mathnasium, it looks like, while they were in school, and then they got some great internships with some different companies. Another way that this can help is by seeing, where did this person, while they were in school, get an internship? Control Laser Corporation. I don't even know anything about that company. So it gives you another place where you might go look for a starting out internship. And then the connection piece is the important and sometimes difficult piece, because they do have this contact info, but generally it's not going to have an email address in there. It's just going to give their LinkedIn profile. So this is when you might want to connect. The trick with connecting, though, is always to send an actual message with the connection. So when you go to connect, and this is different on your phone than it is on your computer. On your phone, if you hit connect, it's automatically going to send a default message, and we don't want to do that. So from a desktop or a laptop computer, if you click connect, it asks if you want to add a note, and you definitely do. So in this note, you only have 300 characters, but I would always suggest saying, you know, I am a current student, if this was going to a Lake-Sumter person, or if you're at UCF and you want to use this. Hi, I'm a current student at UCF studying aerospace engineering. I was wondering if you'd have a few minutes that we could do a phone or Skype chat to talk about what your career path has looked like. Really look forward to talking to you. You can reach me and give your email address and send the invitation. I'm not going to tell you that every time they're going to accept it, but many times they will. And then you can start that conversation. Once you start that conversation, you're able to do direct messaging where it says here, if you aren't a connection and you try to message, they're going to ask you to upgrade and that's going to cost money. But if you are a connection or you're in the same group as a person, you'll be able to send these messages and it pops up down here. It's like instant messaging where you can start with connecting with people that way. This is a good way to explore careers. I was just discussing how that is a great window into setting up an informational interview. And it's also a great way to find job shadow or informational interview opportunities. If I were to go back, let me go back to Lake-Sumter and alumni. I'll do aerospace here. You can see the different people here. Now this is a Lake-Sumter alum who is an actual aerospace engineer, and he's now my connection. So if you were to get on LinkedIn and connect with me, he is going to be your secondary connection. And if you did send him a message saying that you wanted to connect with him, he's going to be more likely to accept that because he sees that we are connected. That's how LinkedIn and these connections can really help you find your way. But this is another way of finding a job shadow opportunity. Look at the company that you would love to job shadow or someone who's doing the job that you want to job shadow, and you start these conversations. More than likely, it's going to start with that informational interview, and I have a handout that I'm happy to send out to you if you just shoot me a message in the chat box. But you can send that message and show people, shoot me that message, and then I'll send you this handout that talks about the appropriate way to approach people for an informational interview and how to transition that into perhaps doing a job shadow. I know in these times it's kind of seems maybe futile because everybody's doing their social distancing, but you know that's not going to last forever. And the fact is right now might be the best time to try to connect with someone because they are maybe having more time at their computer. They're not able to go out to job fairs and to these networking events. So now might be a great time to really try to connect with them in that way. Sending these connection messages and that sort of thing. Another thing you can do by knowing a person who's in the role that you're interested in is let it help you find some groups that you might want to participate in. At the bottom of most of the profiles, you will see an interest area, and then you can click See All and click on Groups. Groups will start to let you know some of the professional organizations that someone in that same career might be finding useful. So if you find a professional organization that you think, yes, I would like to be a part of that, I'd like to learn more, this is the way that you can sometimes find those things. And then what's really great about joining a group is how I told you earlier that you can't connect with, you can't message someone directly until you're connected. If you're in the same group with them, you actually can. So finding a professional group in your industry or your desired industry, or even an alumni group for Lake-Sumter State College on LinkedIn, joining that group opens that door to messaging anybody who's in that group. So really, this is a great place to kind of explore what jobs someone is doing who was in your major many moons ago and follow their career trajectory and see what you might want to be doing as you're going through the process. LinkedIn also has a job search board, and it's very simple to find right here at the top of the screen. And you can just search for jobs in here. What's great about this is any job that you may have searched for in the past, it remembers that. LinkedIn is at its core a tech company. And so they take all the algorithms from every job you ever clicked on, and any alerts you might set up, and it will alert you to more jobs that are open. Another thing you can do is go into your profile and show recruiters that you're open. So when recruiters go in and they're looking to hire, especially in the IT fields or maybe even healthcare, things that are hot jobs right now, they go in and they have an opportunity to see a lot of information about the people on LinkedIn, much more than just your average user can see. And so they will be able to see if you post that you are open to new opportunities. So even if you're not job searching, if they're looking for an aerospace engineer in the Orlando area from a certain college or a certain number of years experience, if you have that you're open, that's going to pop you up to the top and make you more appealing to them when you are in that job and internship search kind of place in your career path. So I definitely recommend getting in here and setting up job titles that you'd like to be alerted, areas you'd want to be seen. You can even set it up so only recruiters are seeing things. And it's just another way that makes that job searching element on LinkedIn even easier to find.
And I would suggest making connections with some of the HR or talent acquisition at those companies you're interested in, because they oftentimes will post job openings. And then of course you will know and be able to ask them questions about what are some of the skills that you're looking for, what kind of things should you make sure is on your resume, and build those connections is another way. So I just wanted to add that in while Anne was talking about job search and connecting with folks.
That's exactly right. And Carissa and I, because we're in the career services industry, are connected to a lot of those recruiters. So again, use us as your first connection. We can also help you with developing your profile. We have handouts we could go through one-on-one with you through Zoom to really make sure that your profile is the best it can be before you start connecting, because it really is not in your best interest to develop kind of a bare bones LinkedIn profile without a photo or even where you're going to school or a great headline and then start connecting to the people. You really want to make sure your profile is as good as possible and really tells your story before you start connecting with people. And that being said, if you feel like you have a pretty good profile, but you're going to start adding to it, you're going to want, and if you're connected to people, you're going to want to go into your privacy and settings and turn off that people aren't getting alerts about your changes, because otherwise they'll get inundated. But we can definitely help you kind of consider your audience, develop the story that you want to be projecting out there, and make your personal brand be as on point as possible. Let's see. Those are some of the best ways that I like to use LinkedIn when we're at that career exploration phase. Do you guys have any questions specifically, or Carice, do you have any other comments that would be useful?
Well, now that we are doing a lot of things virtually, I just want to, I can show an example of some things that some of the connections I have are doing to help students.
Sure.
So let me see if I'm able to.
I'm going to stop sharing so you
Okay.
can.
And share my screen. So one of the contacts is actually someone in talent acquisitions at Advent Health. And she has actually come out to a couple of our recruiting events and employer events and networking events. And she's super helpful in with students. But if you notice on her page, she has posted that she is willing and open to helping folks with their resumes, mock interviews, and then one-on-one chat sessions. So if you're connected to someone in that area, then notice during this time, they're actually taking the time to do more than what they may normally do because they do have more time in front of their computer, as Anne mentioned. So the more connections and network that you build, the more you're able to take advantage of these opportunities that they post and will just help you in the long run. So even though Anne and I are more than happy to help you with resume or mock interview, but if you're interested in working in healthcare, wouldn't it be fantastic to have someone actually who recruits and looks at those resumes and helps with those job hiring decisions actually do that for you? So I just wanted to point out another way that you can really use LinkedIn, because especially during this time, there are a lot of great articles, a lot of things about different industries. Even joining groups can really assist you in your research so that when you do put together your resume or go for an interview, you really know about your particular career field in your industry and things to bring up in terms of trends, what are challenges, what are skill sets that you need to build because this is where things are going or things that they're indicating are important. So I know you hear LinkedIn all the time, but I know it really is a great professional tool. It can seem overwhelming at times because there are so many different ways that you can use it. But trust me, if you take your time, and now that if you have more time because you're at home, to really go in and use the tools and try it out, then you'll see that it has a lot of great rewards.
Great. So do we have any questions from the audience about something specific they would like us to share, or something they thought might have been covered that wasn't covered? You can use the chat function if you want, or you can, do we have anything in the chat? Okay. Very good.
I don't see any questions, Anne, but I know we're getting close to our time.
Yep. Okay. So let me share my screen. I'm having trouble. There we go. So I'm just going to share the last contact information for career services. As I had mentioned at the beginning, my name's Anne. I'm the career advisor on the South Lake campus. You can see my direct phone number and email, and Carice, who has also been contributing, her email and phone number are also there. Our LinkedIn profiles are right there, so feel free to find both of us on LinkedIn and follow us on our social media to learn about more of these workshops and other events we might be happening on campus or virtually while we're not on campus.
And next Wednesday at 12:30, we'll be doing our last workshop in the virtual job search series. And that actually will be on exploring careers virtually. So during this time where maybe uncertain if you can job shadow or do an internship, we will be talking about ways that you can really use informational interviews and connect with professionals, perhaps through Zoom like we're doing today, in order to kind of supplement your exploration. So we will be doing that next Wednesday at 12:30, and you can find the Zoom link on Canvas if you go to the Career Development Services tab under Student Resources course shelf.
All right, very good. If there's no other questions, I think we can close out the workshop, but definitely do get back in touch with either of us if you have more questions. And we look forward to talking to you again soon.